Let's get this over with. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's simple, baby. Buffalo Bills football is heck, all right? And we tell you something.
I'm gonna crack a cold one because since it's a tailgate.
Ooh, ice cold, Mike. Let me tell you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are live here in the sit down with Sauce God, the sports and entertainment show.
I'm whipping the sauce, I'm tripping, of course, I want it all. All of my dogs be running with guard. Your mama, you're holding your pennies and bra. Cause when I get whipping the sauce, you taking it off. I'm dancing on tracks like stuff in the yard. We keeping it quiet, we moving in signs. But now we starting to riot, yeah. Keeping my eye on the prize. I got me a queen, we riding like Bonnie and Clyde. Trips to Dubai, the way I be flexing, I'm destined for changing my decimals. Decibels hitting the wave, I'm rapping incredible. Splitting their head like a cantaloupe edible. Got me so high, I'm touching the sky. Of course, I give it my all. I'm whipping the sauce, kicking the door. But then we been here before. She ain't involved, well she ain't involved. Taking my shot, even the down, we tying the score. Do your dancing now, twist, don't stress, don't trip. Whipping sauce real quick, stay dripping, sipping on cognac. Roll tea in my veins, but you find that I'm whipping it, watch it get saucy. I'm twisting and mixing and shaking them haters right off me.
Yes, we are live here in the Sit Down Podcast, a Bills and Sports and Entertainment podcast right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and also available via audio podcast, wherever you may get your podcast from. Trying to maybe cover that light up a little bit. But if you're just now tuning in, do us a favor, hit a like and a share for us. And if you're not already doing so, please make sure you're liked, following, subscribed, and have your notifications turned on so you don't miss the live versions of the Sit Down or the Mafia Sports Bar Bills pregame and postgame shows right here. Also on Facebook Live and YouTube Live at Buffalo Sauce God with myself, your host, every Friday, the Sauce God at Buffalo Sauce God across the social medias. And join here with another reappearing appearance here for my guy over here, Nickel. Nickel, how we doing on this fine Friday evening? And also, too, shout out to G, my kiddo right there, saying, hi, guys. Go Bills, G.
Oh man, I'm doing. I've had better days. I've been a little bit under the weather since Christmas Eve, and that's unfortunate because Christmas is time for family, and I just really wasn't feeling the best, so that was unfortunate.
I mean, hey, it looked like you were having fun at least on Christmas, so that's good. I mean, Christmas was a fun time. I got to say too, I got a really cool ass gift. Number one, that right behind me is actually from our other co-host, Modown, Jason Lake, his store, Zubaz Own 716 Sports Card and Memorabilia Store in Depew, New York, one of the proud sponsors of the show. But this right here came from G, and it's a Bills snow globe. And it's funny because as a kid, I was actually kind of obsessed with snow globes, right? And this is a good one, and it's a Bills one, and it's literally got the logo in there and everything. So shout out to G. That made my whole Christmas right there. But, it's not about gifts. It's about the people that you're around, of course, but that sucks around with the weather, man. Of course, I just got over being sick. I feel like I'm usually always sick during the winter. So, but nonetheless, so we're going to have a great show here Friday night. And we're going to talk a little bit about this and that, everything. But, Nickel, you brought up something I think you wanted to talk about the other day. Something about a shutout in the NFL.
Yeah, so it might have been Thursday Night Football. I think it was. It was Packers-Saints. I mean, it was well performed by the Packers. I mean, Saints, coming out 0 points, not great. They had the rookie QB in at Spencer Rattler. I mean, didn't show a whole lot. He was running for his life almost the entire game, and it was rough.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think the other thing, too, is it really showed the legitimacy of the Green Bay Packers and the team that they've built. The running backs this year, in my opinion, by the way, have really brought the market back for themselves. Guys like Derrick Henry and Saquon. And then you got to look at Josh Jacobs in that pack as well. Aaron Jones for the Vikings. But it's crazy that it took this long to have a shutout. I almost felt like it's like the Bills really whooped the Dolphins and Jags to the point where it almost felt like a shutout. But they also got whooped by the Ravens in a sense. But that didn't feel like a shutout because we actually had a chance to kind of climb back in. We remember how that went. So, it's weird, though, because the NFL is a strange universe, right? The Saints are struggling, man. And shout out to Rampart, Tyler Andrews. He's a Saints fan. And, no Derek Carr, but I don't think Derek Carr was really their long-term solution or even really the short-term Super Bowl winning quarterback solution. I think he's a good quarterback, but he's not anything better than that. I mean, he's had a lot of injuries. His stint with the Raiders, he was really good as a rookie in his second, third year. But after that, just really never saw much out of that guy. So Spencer Rattler kind of shocks me a little bit. I thought he was going to kind come in and. But then again, what else do the Saints really have going for them? You know, Alvin Kamara, sure. Chris Olave's been hurt. It's just not like the teams that we used to watch with Drew Brees. The Saints are just not that team anymore. Just like in the AFC East, you know, the Patriots aren't the team that we once watched. So I watched the game last night. I don't know. Did you happen to catch it?
Not really. I was checking in and out of it, but like.
Well, you didn't miss much because 6-3. The Seahawks were winning at halftime. That's what the score ended at for the whole game. I mean, come on, dude. 6-3. I'm not a guy that likes good defensive battles, this and that. I'm a guy that I like a nice shootout, obviously, except for when the Buffalo Bills are playing. It's a different story. But I like to see a nice shoot, and that's not the case. And that seems to be the case. Well, at least last year was with Thursday night football games being kind of boring. But the Seahawks got to win. I think the Bears, they are struggling very badly. They have lost every game since they almost went to 5-2 on the season. They were 4-2 at that moment. And then the Hail Mary from Jaden Daniels ended up beating them, and they haven't won a game since. So they just have not had a good go around since the Hail Mary. Versus like the Bills, you know, the Hail Mary that they had against DeAndre Hopkins in 2020, they went on, I think they basically won the rest of their regular season games at that point. So it's a different scenario. But NFL, it's a weird sport. So we do have 2 games on tomorrow. We did see the Ravens win. Kansas City clinched the first overall seed. The Buffalo Bills will be playing against the Jets at home, their final home game of the season. 2 games remaining, both divisional games, even though we've clinched it. And right now, I believe if we win, I think we would clinch the second seed if we win. And I think that's right where the Bills should sit. What's your take on that? You know, I know we talked a little bit about it at Christmas, and your cousin Mike broke it down a little bit, but you know, the Bills not getting the number 1 seed, ending up at number 2. What does that do for them?
Oh man, I mean, the number 1 seed, yes, it's great. You know, you're sitting high and mighty. You got the bye going into the playoffs, but at the same time, that bye week might be what puts you down. You know, I mean, yeah, it gives your guys some time to rest up and get healthy again. But at the same time, they're going off of, you know, not a whole lot of hitting. You know, and that tends to hurt a team, and that's coming from, you know, a player within himself.
You know, it's just a fucking crazy thing, man. I really think that them getting the second seed is just right where they need to be. You know, they would clinch, obviously, a couple home playoff games, ideally. If we got up with Kansas City, that would mean that we'd have to go to Arrowhead. But at the same time, you know, wouldn't that be good for the Bills to win against Kansas City in the playoffs, which they haven't done, and they got a chance to do it at home last year. They couldn't get it done. We know how that went. But this would give them a chance to just go on the road and do it. And I think that would set them up for whatever they got to face in the Super Bowl, any adversity at that point. Do you think the Bills really are towing the line a little bit in the sense that they're not showing like Josh said, they're not really showing everything? And does that mean, I don't think that we think we showed at Kansas City everything in the regular season? Or I don't know, because I'm looking back at that game, Nick, and, you know, the Chiefs, they played well enough in times to really kind of stay with it, but they didn't play well enough to beat us. But it really kind of felt like they weren't giving us everything in a sense. Did you get that feel, or do you think that, you know, we still got everything loaded up to go against Kansas City?
I mean, no, I definitely agree with you. It's hard to say if we gave them a look of everything during the regular season. I mean, a part of me wants to say yes, but a big part of me says no. And that goes off, you know, we didn't have a whole lot of our guys, you know, in that regular season game, and we still managed to beat them. You know,
okay.
Going into the playoff, we just lost a couple more guys. Milano's back out. You know, what was it?
I did see him and Rasul Douglas, I believe, were like basically participating in. I don't know if they were full, but they were participating in practice. That's what else I wanted to ask you. Obviously, you know a thing or two about football. You play, and do you think the Bills defensively have concerns? Because there's a lot of people in Bills Mafia right now that talk about Dorian Williams needs to be on the field, that Matt Milano has hurt us in a sense. I don't know where to begin sometimes with Bills Mafia, but like, what do you think? Where are there gaps? What are you maybe looking at still out of that group that you're possibly concerned about?
Oh man, that linebacker spot, man. Going off what you said, Williams deserves to be in there. I mean, he did great while Milano was out. Then just, you know, on a snap of a finger, Milano comes back, and, you know, that kills a player's confidence. You know what I mean? And especially when you're a backup, you get a chance to go out there and make a name for yourself. And he did exactly that. I mean, he was all over the field making all types of plays. And, Milano comes back, quote unquote, back from injury. And, he's right back at that starting spot. And, it's silly.
Now, I also think you want the best guys that you got on the field, because maybe Matt Milano, we're about to bring in DV, our guy DV. So hold on, let's switch this up real fast. Add it to the stage. What's going on, DV? How we doing on this fine Friday evening?
I'm late, guys. How you doing, man? I'm here. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Pretty good.
Yeah, how was Christmas? All right?
Pretty good, man. Glad it's over.
Yeah, actually, I was hanging out with this dude Nickel on Christmas, and we were talking, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But right now, we were just getting into, like, if there's any really concerns for the Bills, because we're talking a little bit about Bills before we get into anything else. But is there really concerns for, like, the defense? There's people that think that Matt Milano shouldn't be on the field. He looks like he's trending back to getting back to playing from his injury, him and Rasul Douglas both. But what's your take on that?
Our defense, I think we haven't been given our full arsenal anyways. I think we're really preparing for the playoffs. Right now is the time to keep everybody healthy. I think our team, we got one of those teams, we coach well, and we coach like it's the game. It's championship caliber in practice. I think we know what we have. I think we know where we at. And I think, once Russell get back, Tyler Rapp get back, Hamlin get back, Milano, everybody on the field at the same time, I think we'll be okay.
I think so too, and we actually brought that up too. If we're like really showing a full look, we'll go back to the Kansas City game. Do you think we showed Kansas City a good chunk of it, and we think that they showed us a good chunk of what they got?
I think that they didn't really show us anything. They tried to play us a little vanilla, and I also think that we played them vanilla as well. We just ended up on top.
The thing that makes me really feel better about that game is that it wasn't just a one-score game. We finished by 2 scores, and we're the only team to do it in the NFL this year. Obviously, Kansas City wins those close games, but they find a way. That's what great teams do. They find a way to win, even if they're not playing at their so-called best, right? So, we're right here with Sauce God, Nickel, and DV right here in the Sit Down Podcast on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, also available via audio podcast, where you get your podcast from. Sponsored by BuffaloSauceGod.com, home of some of the Sit Downs merchandise, as well as Sauce God merch, and also Duff's Famous Wings, Big Treat Inn in Orchard Park, Louie's Bar in Attica, and also the Zubaz 716 Sports Card and Memorabilia store, where I believe this hat came from for Christmas. My mom got me, and also this nice light up Bill sign. So. Even though it's got a glare in my face, it is driving me nuts, right? Because I gotta look at that. But if you're just now tuning in, hit us with a like to share. I mean, we're talking a little bit about Bills, we're talking a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Yo, Nickel, bring up the whole shutout thing and that to DV as well.
Yeah, so DV, I mean, I don't know if you caught the game. It was Saints Packers. It was a shutout. Packers, they wiped them right off the board. Don't quote me on what the score was. I think it was 32-zip. And I mean, what are your thoughts on that game there? First shutout of the season. What are your thoughts there?
They're back. We're back.
Oh, I think he's lagging.
I hope.
Yeah.
Oh, we could kind of see him.
Okay. I don't know what happened. Was that just me?
Yeah, because I'm Nick. You got any lag on your end or no? Like for me?
Yeah, he's lagging.
No, what about me? Am I lagging?
No,
Okay.
you're good.
Okay. Okay, no,
I don't know what happened.
No, we're good then. We're good. We figured it out.
What's good, DV? Yeah, did you hear what Nick said?
I'm good now.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I didn't. What'd you say, Nick?
The Packers Saints, they played, and it was a shutout. I believe the score was 32-0. And it's the first shutout of this season. I mean, I was just trying to get your opinion on it.
Yeah, man, that's odd to hear that in the NFL. This is the first, shutout of the season. I guess this is where they wanted to take it. From the days when I watched football, it was 0-0 games, 3-0. Well, I kind of enjoyed those games too. But after a while, I think they wanted to push pass game and excitement. And I guess this is where we at now. No shutout games in the NFL season. That is amazing. It's crazy.
So, I got another thing I want to bring up to you fellas, because, I like to tap into sports betting, and sometimes I really like to think that there are levels of fixation to some of this shit. I mean, when you hear the stories, the bad beats, it kind of makes you wonder. So there was a game today, Navy 21-20, they beat Oklahoma in a college football. I'm sorry, not college football playoffs, but a college bowl game, the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. Now, don't get me wrong, Navy's all right. Oklahoma comes back and ties it with like a few seconds left. Instead of kicking an extra point to send it to overtime, they elected to go for 2 and didn't get it. So they lost the game when they could have actually given themselves another chance in overtime. But the over-under for that game, fellas, was 43.5. That ended at 41. Now, granted, if they hit the 2-point conversion, sure, that's not, but like, why did they go for 2? Why didn't they just kick an extra point? Who wouldn't want to play more overtime in the last game of the season? You want to try to win it right there? I don't buy that. What do you think of that? What do you think of that, DV?
I think it's crazy as well, man, because I always think, like, how do they hit it on the head? They say 43, over and under 43.5 or something like that. And it's always, they're very close all the time. And I don't ever like to think that the game is rigged in any way, shape, or form, to take the integrity out of it. But there's something going on. Something is happening, especially with the new FanDuel and all these things going on. Something is going on. I just can't put my finger on it.
I mean, it's a debatable topic for sure, because obviously there are instances in history, more like in the early 1900s, kind of mid 1900s. There were obvious examples of fixing. I mean, the World Series in, was it 1919? I think the White Sox, they were known as the Black Sox, that was fixed. And all the stuff that went down there. Then you had referees like Tim Donahue or whatever his name was in the NBA. He was caught fixing. And I mean, I know a little thing or two about the mob. Okay, I'm Sicilian, so I'm just saying I know the games that go down, and especially at the college level, because they're kids. It's the 17 hour right now, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, here on the sit down. But at the college level, they're kids. They'll be susceptible to anything. I think now that you have the NIL where they can get paid, it kind of eliminates a lot of that. And obviously, today's days, you're not going to get away with that kind of shit out in the open. You'd have to really, really have something going on. But I just wonder, because they are so close, and there is so much money in sports betting ever since it became legalized outside of the state of Nevada. I mean, we're talking billions of dollars. We're talking billions of dollars just in New York State alone. So, Nickel, what do you think about that, bro? Is it just really starting to make you turn your? I don't think players, right? But like, what do you think?
Oh man, the sports betting definitely. Me personally, I think it has something to do on all levels of games. I mean, pros, college. I mean, I think it has something to do with it. I mean, like you were bringing up, there has been refs that have been caught fixing games for betting. I mean, do I think it's still going on now? I mean, possibly a little more than then. No, but do I still think it's going on? Definitely.
By the way, longtime viewer Chris 716. By the way, what up? Go Bills. Says Kraft and Jerry Jones have ownership in DraftKings, and I know that much. I'll tell you another example, fellas. Last year, Bijan Robinson with the Falcons. It was a big time prop bet that they were talking about all week long. I never really hear those kinds of bets, but even I was about to get in on it, right? He was going off, and there's no injury on him, nothing. You're watching the game, you don't see him out there once, and you're starting to wonder what the hell. There was no injury put on him. And if you're a part of the team's offense primarily, and if you're not going, they have to play you. They have, like, there has to be some type of a legitimate reason before the game that you're not going to be a part of the offense that day. So their excuse was he wasn't feeling himself. Okay, but also not to mention that FanDuel is the Atlanta Falcons' biggest partnership. So
right.
I'm just saying, I don't necessarily think it's gonna do with the players. Because people think it's scripted. I don't think you can necessarily fake like some of the most insane catches and shit like that. You just can't. Yeah, you can't do that. These players are legit trying to play. I don't think that they would do that. But that doesn't mean. Go ahead.
The players have to do what the coaches tell them to do. So like I tell people, it's levels in football, and these are professional football players. They know the in and outs. They study. It's an 8-hour job. They do football 8 hours a day at the facility, filming everything. So it's like if the offense see that the defense is in cover too, and the coach call that and on said down. Actually, it's a good example of this. I think it was the Saints a couple years ago. It was at the end of the game, big play. They go into cover zero, man-to-man coverage across the board, no safety. What you think the offense going to do? They know they got one-on-one on the outside. It's the NFL. Exactly what they did. Throw the ball up, touchdown. But why would you do that? Why would you go into cover zero coverage, 20 seconds left in the game, unless you wasn't trying to lose that game? And those are little things of the way that I think that it could be done, because they have to listen to their coaches or whatever. I don't think that they necessarily know, except for them knucklehead, players, the individual players that call their cousin up and say, yeah, I'm only gonna have 2 catches today, and you could bet on that. And they fake their little injury, go out and get caught. So we've seen some of that too. People actually getting caught for doing it individually, but I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how they could do it on a big grand scheme of things. And I think it's through the coaches, and I think it's through the referees.
It's definitely got to be partially through that replay assistant too, because bro, like, you used to have to challenge things. Now they'll take care of it for you if they want to. You know what I mean? I watched
what they want to take care of, and that's what's crazy.
I watched that college football, dude. It's like they're not calling penalties here, but then they're calling penalties there. You could just see it, but I don't know if they're necessarily a part of it. But they're doing what the NFL and the people in New York and in their ear set, what they're telling them to do, because that's their livelihood. And I'm sure that's probably the contract they sign, is that you got to do this, you got to do that. I mean, hey, it's just a lot of money going on. They say it's an entertainment business, not a sports league, but I definitely don't think the players have anything to do with it. I just couldn't see that out of a guy like Josh Allen. I could never see that kind of shit. So, Nickel, what about you, brother? I mean, so, what kind of examples could you think of, like, in history, like maybe a Super Bowl that you kind of thought there's something a little fishy about this game? It was fixed.
I mean, you brought up Super Bowl. I mean, let's go back to the Patriots Super Bowl against the Seahawks. I mean, you had Marshawn Lynch in the backfield, and you decided to pass it on the goal line. I mean, what's going on there? What was running through your mind? I mean, come on, like, there's got to be something going on. You don't do that with arguably the best running back in history, in that short down yardage like that.
Yeah, downhill type shit, right?
Yeah, you don't.
They don't call you beast mode because you don't run good.
I mean, there's a reason for that. You give him the ball and then short yardage, you don't throw the ball.
That's what Marshawn Lynch said. Save your chicken, to all the young folks out there. But I also, here's another great one. You want to talk about Patriots Super Bowls. The Atlanta Falcons. Why on earth, when they were running the ball with absolute force, they didn't have to throw the ball once, and they're running with such ease. And I believe the running back was it Coleman was his last name? But or I can't remember who it was, but he's like, I just was wondering why they stopped giving me the ball. And they just were trying to throw it down their throats. And come on, Patriots came down for 28-3. Come on, I saw the money line at halftime for that shit. What the Patriots would be to win the whole game, and it's just ridiculous. And it makes you really wonder. DV, did you think of like a Super Bowl or a big time game example where you think there might be a little bit of a fix in?
Those were the big two right there. Those are the big two. Watching the Bills, I always see little things in Bills games and other games too, where I feel like some of the players look like they're running towards the player, but kind of like fall down and let them run by. I don't know if my eyes tricking me, but I've been watching close, man. But I don't have no other games. Those are the two big games to me.
Well, one other one I'll say was that Seahawks and Broncos game was just, I don't know. How do you have an offense that good and just get taken down like that? I mean, Peyton Manning literally looked like a god that season. So it makes you wonder. I mean, if they're going to fix it, can they just fix us one? You know what I'm saying? That's all we want is just one before we die.
Just one.
You know what I'm saying? Come on. But, if you're just now tuning in, guys, hit the like and share. It's Sauce God, DV, and Nickel right up here in the sit down on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. And make sure that you like, following, subscribe, notifications turned on so you never miss the live versions of this show or the Mafia Sports Guard Bills pregame and postgame coverage, which we're hoping to be live Sunday for the Bills action against the Jets at home for their final home game of the 2024 NFL season. Getting ready to hopefully take that second seed and into the playoffs. All right, Nickel. So, we talked a little bit about that shutout, this and that. Now, outside of football, and also too, Chris did say that the Sabres did just score, and I wanted to update, that's Zach Benson with his 6th goal of the year, Rasmus Dahlin with his 18th assist, Bo Byram also with his 15th assist, and the Sabres are just not playing good, so hopefully they can turn that around with a win tonight at home. Nickel, back to what I was saying here, buddy. What sports really outside of football do you just really? What else do you get into? What do you watch?
Oh man, I got away from it for a little while in my teenage years. I'm starting to get back into it, but baseball, man, I was a Yankees fan growing up. You know, I'm still a Yankees fan. There's no doubt about that. And so, what are your thoughts? I want to ask you guys, what are your guys' thoughts on some of the moves the Yankees have made so far this offseason?
So, and DVB right back. He's right there, obviously. So we just turn right here. I like that you brought that up because the Yankees, you know, everybody. And I'll be honest. I mean, if the Yankees sign Juan Soto, it's gonna be like, okay, cool. You know, like I'm glad they. But at the same time, I'm glad that they didn't sign Juan Soto. $765 million he got from the Mets. And don't get me wrong, his hitting is big time. It is big time. It's clutch. He's got the big playability in big games. He's won a World Series. He's young, but he's basically an average fielder. He's slow. He doesn't get you stolen bases. I mean, you're paying a guy Shohei Ohtani $700 million, but he does literally everything. Okay, and Aaron Judge is basically he's making half of what they offered him. I think you now go and get Paul Goldschmidt. It's on a 1-year contract, which apparently he took less money to play for the Yankees. That's cool to hear. They traded for Cody Bellinger, who won a MVP for the Dodgers. So these guys are MVP players, right? And the Yankees have something building around Aaron Judge and Anthony Volpe at shortstop. I think Anthony Volpe went through the roof in the World Series with that grand slam. I think he's going to come back and play more of that Jeter-esque type of level. So they did also. Glover Torres is now, I believe. I saw he left. I forget where he went to, but they also got a pitcher, Max Fried from the Braves. He was from the Braves. I think he won a Cy Young in the World Series, and then Devin Williams saving a relief pitcher. It's exciting. Baseball, I'm glad you brought it up too, because baseball is more exciting nowadays because the game is a little bit faster. They have a pitch clock. So you're seeing games that used to go 3 hours, you turn in about 2 hours and 40 minutes, somewhere in that range. And then there's more stolen bases because they changed a couple small rules. But I also still have a beef with baseball. We'll get to that in just a brief moment too. But DV, Nickel was just asking me, you know, like what my take was on the Yankees and their offseason. But like, what other sports outside of the Bills do you really get yourself into? What do you watch? Like, what are you also pretty passionate about?
I like basketball. Kind of basketball NBA kind of like died down because of the competition level. Really don't crank up until about February after All Star. But I get into hockey. I love tennis. I like watching golf. I'm kind of well rounded, man. I just like sports.
So basketball, I used to really love basketball because I play point guard and I've been a big LeBron fan, but in a sense, I just also like. I think that all these players are very soft in a lot of ways. And it's like the game is not what it really was in the mid to like end of 2000s for me. Now that they're in this era, it's just a lot of 3 points. Don't get me wrong, the playoffs are much more exciting. The playoffs last year were definitely more exciting. And it's better now that it's not just Golden State and Cavaliers going at it with that whole ordeal. But I also think, it's crazy because the NBA used to be the Christmas Day thing. They had, I think, 5 million viewers, I think it was, or something like that. And NFL had 20. And that's through all the games. They had more games. So, like, what's your take on that, DV? Like, why do you think that we're seeing a little bit of a decline in basketball and we're seeing a raise in some other sports?
Because it's more, I would say, man, in basketball, it's no loyalty. There's no real teams. It's nothing like the fan could get behind. It's like, okay, I like the Chicago Bulls, but next year the whole Chicago Bulls will be a different team. So it's like I think that take a lot of the passion out of it for a fan. And then going into the games, you can't play defense. They shooting 93s a game. No passion. It's like what am I watching here? It kind of get me back into it once we get to the playoffs. A couple of higher fouls. It look like they playing with a little intensity, but man. It just seemed like the NBA is lacking intensity, is lacking competition. It really is. And I don't know what's going on there. We need something to spice it up.
Don't get me wrong, you got a lot of really good young players. Like, you could really debate about who's the best player in the world at this point. For a long time, it's LeBron James. You could maybe say Kevin Durant at some point, and then obviously we would talk about Kobe Bryant, guys like that, Michael Jordan. But the Bulls teams, if you ever watched The Last Dance, Nickel, I'm not sure if you've ever seen it. DV, I'm sure you've seen it, right?
Yes,
okay.
absolutely.
Nick, have you seen it by any chance? The Last Dance about the Michael Jordan, the Chicago Bulls teams. I think it's like 10 episodes.
Oh man, I might have, but dude, I'm so bad with names of movies and
Oh,
shows like that.
regardless,
There's a
let me
chance
tell
I
you.
might.
Let me put you on, because like if you want to get yourself motivated, go watch that series. Like I'm telling you, that shit. Like when you hear how they were, it makes you really look at the game today and see. Okay, I understand why people say that Jordan is the greatest still at this point. I mean, yeah, you could talk stats, but like no, those were great teams. They were together. I mean, it's something like you said, DB, that you could rally behind. You had that a little bit with the Los Angeles Lakers, but it really changed up when LeBron left Cleveland, and the way that he left Cleveland, that changed the league forever. And I mean, that's my guy. He's my favorite player, even though he's not as like, favorite athlete level for me necessarily. But college basketball is very exciting because those are teams in March Madness, man. They're really playing for something. You could see the emotion on some of these players' faces, and it's really it's tough to get into the NBA. You have a very short draft. I mean, I think it's a 2-round draft, undrafted players, but we're talking a little bit about baseball too, as being a sport that we really got into a lot more of. And Nick's hoping to get more into. DV, what about you? Are you on the baseball level or no?
I'm a Yankees fan. That's
Yes.
how it goes. But I don't watch really during the season. If I could catch a game, I try to. But no lie, baseball is very boring to me to watch. But I love playing it, and
Yep.
I respect the game. So it's not like I want to
I
down
will
it.
say
And I prefer to watch.
it's way different nowadays, though. I'm telling you, because even me, I could sometimes watch it and be like more like background noise for me to fall asleep to. But I
Yeah.
also struggle with the fact that I'm a Yankees fan too, and so is Nick. But like they don't have Yes Channel on YouTube TV, so I can't watch every game, even if you got like ESPN Plus or some MLB Plus package shit. If you're in the market, which we are, you can't watch it. I think it's dumb.
Right.
But I will say, bro, watching the playoffs, man, it was exciting. And the game has changed in this regard today that, the bases are a little bit bigger. So you got more incentive for stolen bases. So there's just more action. You got the pitch clock. And then also, it's just a game where I feel like you can't really have referees fixing this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as like outs and this and that, strikes, it's going to happen, whatever. But at the end of the day, baseball has gotten to that level. The Yankees got in the World Series and they made some moves. But I'm going to talk with you boys about this one. So, players like Barry Bonds, let's talk about him. Nickel, Barry Bonds. I know from what you know of him, does he belong in the Hall of Fame? And tell me why or why not?
Oh man, I mean, there's a lot of talk. You could say yes, you could say no, but me personally, I'm gonna put him in that yes category. I
I
mean,
like it.
man was an all around great player. I mean, you hear his name everywhere. You play baseball, you hear his name here, you hear his name there, and I mean, the dude just did it all. I mean, he was great.
I mean, Barry Bonds. I'll talk about this in a moment. By the way, the Sabres have, since the 1-0 lead, have scored 2 goals in the first period. After that, Alex Tuck with his 10th, Tage Thompson with the assist, Jack Quinn getting in his goal as well. So good to see some of the Sabres that need to kind of get it going a little bit, getting it going at home. Up 3-0 against the Blackhawks. But here's the problem with the Sabres. When they get a lead, they play like they're afraid to lose it, or they're trying to keep it. You have to be on the attack. You're up 3-0. Nope. You need to try to get up 6-0. And even at
Right.
that point, you're still not content. That's the problem. You got to keep your fucking foot on the gas at all times, because you just never know, one goal at a time. And I've watched them blow a lot of fucking games. But DV, Barry Bonds, Hall of Fame or no?
Is Mark McGuire in? Sammy Sosa?
Nope. Nope.
That makes it a little bit more hard for me to answer, because I know Barry Bonds had the steroid allegation at a time, but I performed well before that or after he got so big, right? Didn't he? Or wasn't it something
See,
like?
that's the thing with Barry Bonds is he played really. I mean, I think he had a 40-40 season, 40 home runs, 40 stolen bases with the Pirates, and that's before he allegedly juiced.
Right.
So
And
yeah,
then after that, he played in the World Series or something like that too, right? He like left and came back and still was good or something like that. I'm not too fond of the story, but I know it's something along those lines. But,
so basically, let me put it this way, fellas. He never actually failed a drug test. There was no actual proof or anything that he actually did take steroids. I'm not saying he didn't, because I 100% definitely believe that he juiced.
he
I
was
mean, I think the funny stat is apparently like his hat size, apparently when he went from the Pirates to the San Francisco Giants. So, and don't get me wrong, he got juiced to the level of like he was just putting up insane numbers. But here's what I also do believe: steroids don't improve hand-eye coordination. Okay,
No, they
and I'm sorry, but like the dude might have had power, but it takes a lot of this. And it also takes a lot of skill at the plate with hand-eye coordination to be a good hitter. And he wasn't just a home run hitter. I'm gonna read some stats for you guys here in just a moment because this shit just blows my mind. It gets me kind of hyped up. Over his, he had a career batting average of 298. Okay, and he has 762 home runs. So I mean, to hit almost 300 with that many home runs, okay. But like, let's talk about some of his MVP seasons. I think he won 7, by the way, which is fucking insane.
so that was all allegations. No, nothing set in stone about steroids.
No actual fucking no failed drug test, nothing.
Oh yeah, Hall of Fame for sure.
But that's the thing is that he had a court proceeding, and it's like the MLB is like so like weird in the sense that like, yeah, we have an exclusive Hall of Fame. Like, come on, like Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. I believe that. But like, listen to these on base percentages, fellas. 2001, this dude's on base percentage was .515, meaning he got on base 1 out of 2 times minimum. That's insane because baseball is what they say is a game of failure. But how about in 2004, his on base percentage was .609. 61% of the time he was on base, whether it was by getting a hit, home run, a walk.
Insane.
And also, he's the only player I have ever seen with bases loaded and in like a 1-2 run game, be intentionally walked. That's how fucking dangerous at the plate Barry Bonds was. And if you hear him talk about baseball, he knew what pitchers were doing. He knew how to get them to throw what he wanted. He was a very, very smart player. But the reason he ain't getting in the Hall of Fame is because he was a fucking asshole. He was not a good person. He was a dickhead. He was not a good teammate. And I think the MLB wants a lot of that if you're going to get to the Hall of Fame. It doesn't just go beyond it to the personal accolades or accomplishments. It really matters about your overall status as a teammate and as a person too. So that's part of why I think why. But hey, man, MLB looked the other way because these guys were taking roids and hitting a bunch of home runs, but now they want to like ban them from baseball stadiums. Like, come on, man. Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, guys like that were icons. But thank God for Derek Jeter in the 1990s Yankees dynasty because that's what really, really made the world hate the Yankees, right? Nickel, growing up, kid, who was your favorite baseball player?
Me, Nick, or Nick? Nick.
Nickel, we'll start with Nick.
Oh man, favorite baseball player growing up. I got to go with the captain, Derek Jeter. I mean, man was just a great player. I mean, you look at throws he made from the outfield grass to first base in a heartbeat. I mean, how can you not love the man? The man was a great teammate. That's why they called him the captain. I mean, how can you not love him?
I mean, that's my all-time favorite athlete. Derek Jeter is really, as a kid, that's what I literally wanted to be. I wanted to play shortstop like him. I wore number 2 like him. That guy, he's built different. He had that Jordan mentality, but he also was just like he wasn't a bad person. I mean, he knew how to stay cool. And his documentary on ESPN Plus and all that shit too. The captain was really good too. It describes some of those teams. But DV, ain't it funny? Last time we were talking about favorite Bills players of all time, and I mentioned Terrence McGee, and he is going to be the legend of the game at home this Sunday.
I've seen that, man.
I'm telling you, it's crazy how the universe works. But so DV, like overall, who do you think you idolize athlete wise, any sport, the most, and you kind of try to take a little page out of their book and how you mold yourself?
It's definitely hands down by far Kobe Bryant. He just on all levels, the mentality, the way you approach every day, the mentality of you never, as good as you think you are. You always could get better. The kill mentality, I really don't like to use kill, but the kill mentality of, if I'm on the court, I'm dominating that person across from me, and I'm coming here to win. I'm coming here to prepare, and I just want to be a championship. I just love Kobe Bryant. He was the man.
And Kobe really was a very well-articulated person too, like the way he spoke. And his game was insane. I loved being able to watch him at Staples Center a couple times as a kid. But for me, Derek Jeter was that kind of guy. I wanted to have good sportsmanship on the field. I wanted to be looked at as like a leader in a sense, right? But so we're talking a little bit here on the sit down with myself, Sauce God, and DV and Nickel. DV, we didn't get a chance to really talk Bills post game. We kind of, gave a little bit of a break with the Mafia Sports Bar. But what do you think what did you think of the Bills and Patriots performance?
I think this that they performed how I kind of thought they would perform. It's hard to go into these games where you kind of know you're in the playoffs. You don't want to go. You got so much experience being good and coming up short at the end. So it's more right now is they don't care about looking good for the fans or social media. The Bills are preparing for the playoffs, and that game playing the Patriots, like we already said, is vanilla offense, vanilla defense. We getting reps. Some rookies getting a little bit more reps and getting some more experience out there, seeing how things look, knowing where we want to go, and keeping guys fresh. So that victory over the Patriots was a good victory, and hopefully we get in this game, see what we could do here in this Jets game and forward. But we got to stay healthy.
I mean, that's the big thing too. I think we weren't given a full look against the Patriots. But Nickel, what'd you think of some of the Patriots players like Drake May? You think this kid's got a bright future?
Oh man, yeah. I was I was playing the game with my brother, and we were talking about him, and man's got, he's not Tom Brady material, but he's got something in his path ahead of him. I could say that.
Yeah, I think he's definitely got. As long as they build around him, I mean, that's the biggest thing. I said that about Josh Allen. That my bad.
It's all good.
Texting. I think Drake May's got a good future if they build around him. Yes, but I think the Patriots are gonna have a tough time doing that. It's not easy to continue to build dynasties, and the Bills right now are obviously that team. But the Bills did right by Josh Allen. They got him a good offensive line. They got him weapons, and they also got rid of people that weren't really good for the overall chemistry of the team with Stephon Diggs, and they made some changes, and that's what they do, and they do right by him, and I appreciate that they always do that. By the way, good first period. Y'all ever been to a Bandits game? DV, you ever been to a Bandits game?
Absolutely, been to a few, man. Playoffs, couple big games. I love the Bandits games. Some of the best entertainment and fans and family feel you could get into.
Nick,
and
you
that's
ever,
what's
been to a you ever been to a Bandits game?
I have. I've been to a bunch as a kid. Bandits. You go hockey, and I've been to a bunch of Rochester Amerks, the semi-pro out there.
Yeah.
Been to a bunch of them guys, dude. I've met a bunch of them guys. Justin Bailey. He was big on the team. Now I don't know where he went to. But he is now in the NHL. I forget what team, but I did meet a bunch of them guys when they were on the Amerks. It was pretty sweet.
Love the Bandits, and it's easy to root for the Bandits because they're winners.
Yo, and I think they've won what, the last one or two?
If I believe 3,
yeah.
Right?
3? I know they've been to 3, I think, but I think they lost the first one, but they won 2 in a row, right?
Okay, yeah, yes, I know they won last year for sure.
And I think that the Sabres, man, it's just like, what are we going to do about the Buffalo Sabres? Because there was once a time where they were really, really, really fun to watch, especially like those days with like Ryan Miller, Daniel Briere, Chris Drury. I don't know, how much you guys got into them, but like DV, like, what do you think? How does this team like turn their franchise around?
First of all, they got to take a page out of the team that's right here, the Buffalo Bills. You start with character. Mm-hmm. Who want to be? Who want to play? Who we know who our stars is. Let's build around them. Let's bring people in here that want to play in Buffalo and play with the stars that we have here. And it starts there. And then you build. I think we got a good coach in Lindy Ruff. He was very successful here in Buffalo, with the Dominator and the glory years back in the day, Rob Ray, Brad May, Barnaby and those guys. So I think you start with character, man. Get guys that want to be here in Buffalo, that's not looking to go anywhere else. Guys that want to play with our stars here, and just go from there and build and build and.
Yeah, I mean, I think
you have chemistry, camaraderie is everything.
I think too, a lot of people always kind of look at the ownership a little bit, that they're not really experienced in trying to run hockey teams the right way and this and that. But you know, sorry, fellas, I gotta send this text real fast.
Yeah.
Um,
You think?
but I think it's funny that the Kevin Adams, the general manager, said that, it's not a destination city. Okay, that doesn't matter. You don't need to always have that as your primary focus point. I mean, there's some guys that don't want to play in big cities, but they definitely don't want to play for a franchise that doesn't have any sort of fire under it. I think you've got some good players in Rasmus Dahlin and Alex Tuck and Tage Thompson, and I'm not exactly sure about goaltending necessarily. And, you're hoping that Owen Power and Jack Quinn can kind of get going a little bit more, but you have to have somebody to really develop these players. I think Lindy Ruff is a good coach for this situation. I don't know. I love Lindy Ruff. I'm all for that as the head coach. I don't think that's really our issue. I think just we need to get some more fire out of the leaders, and we have to have some more. We're going to command more out of each other, and that's kind of what you got to take a page out of, like the Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, like the things that they wanted out of each other and they wanted from their teammates, and that they only asked that out of you because they could do it. They would do it themselves too, and that's what we need to see a little bit more of. I think in those 2000s teams, you saw a lot of great team chemistry. I mean, Tyler Andrew doesn't like when I talk about it, but you guys remember that fight against Ottawa? I mean, bro, like you got the goalies fighting, you got Lindy Ruff trying to fight the coach of the Ottawa Senators, and that's what I'm talking about. We need some fire. But I also want to say to the fans, give it a break sometimes at games. You don't have to boo right away. If they're down 3, it starts with one goal at a time. You know what I mean? Have a little bit of faith, support your team, win or lose. That's how it's supposed to be. I know that it's been a long time. We have sucked for a long time, but at the same time, maybe we could just do our part, right? Nick, what do you think, man? What can the Sabres maybe do a little bit more of in the future, you hope? I mean, like, I know you're not too big into it necessarily, but like, what do you think?
Man, like you said, I mean, the leaders, they need to step up and be leaders. They need to put their team into gear. That plays a big role on your team, man. If your leaders are not doing what leaders should do, I mean, the team ain't gonna perform. Coming into the future, man, like I said, the leaders, I just really hope that they can get themselves in the gear to be that actual leader that they're labeled to be, and get the team moving.
It just really, man, I don't know if we have the pieces necessarily. By the way, we got a comment from Conrad Kamish. Yo, what's good? All my Chicago teams are struggling, but these drinks help. Cheers. That game last night, man. I mean, I want to know from a Chicago fan's perspective, is Caleb Williams your guy? Obviously you have a head coaching change, and it seems like that's what they do whenever they have first round draft picks. They have a coaching change somehow. And you look at some of the other quarterbacks that have played for them, Justin Fields, how he played for the Steelers this year, 4-2. Is Caleb Williams really that guy? Let's start with you, DB. What do you think? Caleb Williams, is he going to be good? What do you think of this kid's game so far?
I actually think that it don't look good now, but he need the proper coaches to come in and coach him up the right way. What I'm seeing out of him is he pressing a little bit. He's used to doing well. So he's looking for the big play. He's looking to be successful. I see it, but he's missing like simple reads right in front of his face that he could take. And that's something Josh Allen just learned in year 7, is to take what the defenses give you. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that, when they get rid of their coach and they find a coach, get a coach in here that got some experience, coaching there, not here, but coaching there in Chicago, that could come in and, take Caleb under his wings, be patient with him, and show him the way. He got all the pieces up. So you got to put it together.
They got a lot of weapons. DeAndre Swift, he's a decent running back, obviously, and you got DJ Moore. You also have Keenan Allen, Roma Duns. They drafted in the first round, and they have Cole Kmet. So I think, his offensive line isn't necessarily playing that great. The Bears obviously are just a little bit of one of those dysfunctional franchises at this moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. It's crazy, but at the end of the day, Caleb Williams, I think he'll be all right. Maybe, I don't know. I also don't think his attitude is that great. I think a guy like Jaden Daniels has got really what it takes. You just see the way that what'd you guys think of how he beat the Eagles?
Clutch.
Yeah, dude, he was nice. Nick, did you happen to catch that game?
I did not catch the game.
Yeah, it's just crazy that the Eagles were talked about as one of the best teams in football at that point, and then here comes Washington, who kind of stalled out for a little bit after a really good start. By the way, back to Cook Kamish. It seems like the cycle will continue. Unfortunately, I'm thinking we need a new GM along with the coach. I don't know what good coach will want to come with a lame duck GM. Now, that's what I also wanted to ask. DV, it shocked me. You have Justin Fields, who's shown you he can play, but were they building the right team around him? I don't know. But you have a first overall pick you could have traded to somebody for a whole haul of first round picks. You could have asked for whatever you wanted because Caleb Williams was a can't miss prospect. But I'm sure that right now Chicago is looking at Jaden Daniels, and they probably would have wanted to pick him. What'd you think of that? Was that the right move? And maybe as a GM got to go?
See, it's the move that they made was right kind of either way they go. But me as a GM, I would have kept Justin Fields. Justin Fields was playing pretty good in that last year. I just don't think that the GM had faith in him. If he Justin Fields, like you said, he could have traded that one of those picks. He still had another pick right after that. So he could have got a nice draft of nice young players in and just built from there. Just show a little faith that you're willing to build around this quarterback. Show the team that you're willing to build around this quarterback so the team can feel comfortable too. When guys coming into practice and you don't know, okay, our coach might not be here, our quarterback might not be here. Guys don't even come in ready to play hard. So the GM, I think he's dropping the ball. He throwing shots in the dark. He got to stick with something. He got to make a decision and ride with it and make sure his team, follow his lead. That's the only thing. Yeah. That's the only thing I think is going to work over there in Chicago.
I think so too. I mean, and hey, it starts one piece at a time, one day at a time. It doesn't get complete overnight, but I think that's going to do it for us tonight, fellas. I know it's Friday night. We just had the holidays. Of course, we're getting ready for New Year's. We're getting ready for the Bills this Sunday. I think we'll be back live on Sunday sometime before pregame, maybe around 11:30, 12 o'clock, not exactly sure. But real quick, want to thank my co-hosts, Nickel and DV, right here in the sit-down presented by BuffaloSauceGuy.com, Duff's Famous Wings, Big Tree Inn in Orchard Park, the Zubaz 716 Sports Card and Memorabilia Store in Orchard Park, and as well as the Zubaz. Wait, Louie's Bar in Attica? Did I say that one already? I don't know, sometimes I lose track. But of course, man, everybody out there, God bless and have a great Friday night. Nickel, why don't you give the people a little quick message? Goodbye. DV, you take it after that, and I'll take it over from there.
Go Bills.
Go Bills. Go Bandits. Let's go.
Bills by a billion. Bills forever. Buffalo forever. One love. Buffalo love. Always. 716-585-315. Everybody already knows. Right here in the sit down on Friday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern time on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and also available via audio podcast with Sauce Guy, DV. We got Nickel. We also have Mo down in here, 12 gauge, and sometimes we have some other guys like Kirby and Rampart too. Hopefully we get him back as well. So guys, appreciate you both very much. And everybody out there, make sure you tune in with us on Sunday for the Bills pregame show and postgame show as they take on the Patriots in Orchard Park. The Jets in Orchard Park for their final home game of the 2024 NFL season before they take home the Lombardi Trophy for the first time ever. As always, God bless, stand tall, and go Bills.